Hi. Do you have my voice now? I just did an entire opening and you couldn't hear a word I said. Let me try that again. Welcome to an adventure. It's been an adventure for me so far because sound wasn't working. And apparently it matters. I need to have all of my sources plugged in before I open OBS, despite the fact that it saw them. When I plugged them in, it wouldn't output them. I had to close and reopen OBS in order to have the sound work, and it took me a bit to figure that out. But it is noted for the future. So anyway, welcome to Archival Adventures. This is a show that I do once a week on Wednesday on the twitch.tv/VTUL Studios channel, as well as the twitch.tv/Rogan27 channel. One of those is the libraries channel, and one of them is my personal channel. And that library would be the Carol Newman Library on the campus of Virginia Tech. And this show is where I share materials from special collections and university archives here on stream. I am the community collections archivist at Virginia Tech. Yeah, you might know me as Anthony if you know me from tech. You might know me as Rogan if you know me from the internet. So you may hear me respond to chatters in either channel. And feel free to make comments or ask questions as we go along. Let me see, there's some comments in one of the channels at least. Let me see who's here. And yes, Lord Portico, thank you very much for notifying me that I had forgotten to put on the projector in OBS, and you all were seeing a blank Mac desktop. I got distracted by the sound issue and missed a step when I restarted OBS. So welcome, Lord Portico. Key Squared, hello. Indeed, Alaska Day. And we're gonna learn about that because I didn't know there was such a thing. It doesn't surprise me that there is, but I didn't know about it. Fluidan, thank you so much for the resubscription. 18 months. Hello, how are you doing? Mime stream. Help, I'm trapped in the internet and can't get out. I gotta pull that rope. Gosh, it's been a long time since I did any mime. Which, that comment lets you know that, yes, I have done mime. Okay, how about walking into an unfortunately indoor rainstorm? Wait. Did you walk into an unfortunately indoor rainstorm? You're ill but fine as possible. Well, hopefully you are ill for a short period of time instead of a lengthy period of time. Okay, we got a late start, so let me dive into our starting bits here. Since we are here on campus and we are looking at history, it's important to acknowledge the land that we're on and the labor that was done in order to make Virginia Tech what it is today. Oh, you were giving prompts for me to mime during the microphone off portion. I see. Yeah, I saw that chat was happening, but I didn't have time to I wasn't looking that close, but anyway. Okay, so Virginia Tech acknowledges that we live and work on the Tutelo and Monacan people's homeland, and we recognize their continued relationships with their lands and waterways. We further acknowledge that the Morrill Land Grant College Act of 1862 enabled the Commonwealth of Virginia to finance and found Virginia Tech through the forced removal of Native nations from their lands in Western territories. We understand that honoring Native peoples without explicit material commitments falls short of our institutional responsibilities. through sustained, transparent, and meaningful engagement with the Tutelo and Monacan peoples and other Native nations, we commit to changing the trajectory of Virginia Tech's history by increasing Indigenous student, staff, and faculty recruitment and retention, diversifying course offerings, and meeting the growing needs of all Virginia tribes and supporting their sovereignty. Virginia Tech acknowledges that its Blacksburg campus sits partly on land that was previously the site of the Smithfield and Solitude plantations, owned by members of the Preston family. Between the 1770s and the 1860s, the Prestons and other local white families that owned parcels of what became Virginia Tech also owned hundreds of enslaved people. We acknowledge that enslaved black people generated wealth that financed the predecessor institution to Virginia Tech, the Preston and Olin Institute, and they also worked on construction of its building. Not until 1953, however, was the first black student permitted to enroll. Through inclusive VT, the institutional and individual commitment to ad prosim, that I may serve, in the spirit of community, diversity, and excellence, we commit to advancing a more diverse, equitable, and inclusive community. Oh, hello, Hannah. I mean, I expect that whenever this stream goes live, someone is going to walk in wherever you happen to be. So no worries, but it's good to see you. So yeah, since we are doing something history-focused, and we're here on campus at Virginia Tech, it's important to pay attention to the history of this institution and where we are. What we will be looking at today, though, is a couple of files specifically from this Many More Women in Architecture 1978 to 1988 exhibit files and panels. 1987 to 1988 is when they were produced, which the multiple dates in there make it a tiny bit confusing. I get that is a potential source of confusion. The reason that we are looking at this is because today is Alaska Day. You thought I said many more instead of many more? I understand how that could be what it might sound like. So Alaska Day is a legal holiday in the U.S. state of Alaska. It's observed on October 18th. It is the anniversary of the formal transfer of territories in present-day Alaska from the Russian Empire to the United States, which happened on Friday, October 18th, 1867. So it's an Alaskan holiday celebrating the transfer of land that is part of Alaska from Russia to the US. And because who needs a reason other than, hey, this day exists, for looking at Alaska-related collections. I told my student employee when picking content, look for if there's a holiday. If there is, do we have anything related to it? As one of like the first steps in picking what to look at. And this is perfect. I didn't know that Alaska Day existed. I didn't know we had anything related to Alaska. So we're going to look at some Alaska stuff on Alaska Day. Perfect. Perfect choice. I don't know anything about these collections, but this overall collection, the Many More Women in Architecture exhibit files and panels, I do not have the panels with me. They're gigantic, and I couldn't haul them up here by myself. I do have all of the files. So anything you see in this finding aid, feel free to mention, and we can try and look at it. But there's three folders in particular that we're interested in today because they are related to Alaska. This is an older finding aid, and we've had a system change since it was written. This should say historical note, not biographical note. I didn't have a chance today to hop in and fix that, but So Many More, Women in American Architecture, 1978 to 1988, premiered on May 15th, 1988 at the 1988 American Institute of Architects National Convention and Design Exposition in New York City. It was sponsored by the AIA's Women in Architecture Committee in response to the exhibit That Exceptional One, Women in American Architecture, 1888 to 1988. Excellent response. They made an exhibit in response to That Exceptional One, Women in American Architecture, called Many More Women in American Architecture. I love it. Many More illustrated the strength and diversity of contributions of women in the architectural profession. All building types, practice specialties, and geographic regions were solicited for representation. It was created as a showcase of the work done between 1978 and 1988 by women currently then in practice in the United States. The scope of this exhibit was to illustrate the strength and diversity of women's current contribution to the architectural profession through architecture, urban design and planning, landscape architecture, computer applications, preservation, historical analysis, criticism, renderings, and research. So, there are 77 projects that were submitted and accepted for the exhibit, and 67 that were submitted but not accepted for the exhibit. But all of them are contained within the files. Okay. The ones that we're particularly interested in, like I said, there are 3 related to Alaska, 2 by Daphne Brown, and 1 by Mary Cary. So those are what we're going to explore first, but if you see something else on here, sorry, it's bigger than I thought it was. If you see something else on here in box 15, let me know and we can look at it if we have time. Because I only have box 15 with me. Not to be confused with a mini moor haunted by the puppy of the Baskervilles, key squared. I like. Oh, the puppy of the Baskervilles. That would be a cute story. All right, so let's just start with folder number 26. The Providence Center for Child Development in Anchorage, Alaska. The architect is Daphne Brown. I know nothing. So you and I will encounter what's in this folder at the same time. Just checking to make sure there's not a personal address on here. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we'll not look at the very, very, very first page because it does have what looks to be a personal address on it. Hi, Blue Rooster. How are you doing? The first page is all the sort of personal information that you have to give when entering a contest, essentially. So it's all the metadata information about what project was being submitted and who was submitting it. And so I'm just not going to show that page because it has some addresses on it, and this is from the 80s, so potentially the same is that's potentially personally identifiable information still. Hello, focus. What is going on with the focus? Hi, camera. would you focus, please? Well, this is the second tech issue I have had today. Oh, that was almost usable. For a moment. I wanted to know the history of box 15 itself. Oh, I can do. Well, sort of. Was it hand constructed or part of a production line? Who was in charge of picking the box color? You know, things like that. Well, I'm not 100% certain which brand it is. I would have to explore. I'm not certain I could determine the brand. Most likely, like I have a most likely candidate, but I can't tell. It looks like it's maybe a little bit of an off-white color, which would probably indicate that it's not our normal supplier, in which case I'm not sure who made it. But if you really are interested in materials and packaging materials specifically, there's a good chance we might have something in our collections, because there is a program in packaging design here at the university. Like, you can study packaging design here. And I'm not sure what's in our collections. But yeah, this to me does not look like our standard box currently. And so I'm not certain who the manufacturer is, and it's not like embossed in the cardboard the way that it normally is. I know it was part of a joke. But yeah, I will look to see if for like a future potential topic, I will check on I can't remember the name of the program, but it's a materials design program of some sort. I'm taking a note. Because that is definitely a topic we have not covered. I know it's a program that exists here. I just don't know what might be in our collections for that topic. Oh, my apologies. I'm gonna look at content now. All right, so CCC Architects, Alaska Design Team, Daphne Brown Designer and Project Architect, Ed Crittenden, FAIA Partner in Charge, Dick Regals, Steve Peterson, Sharon Davidoff, and Belinda Bruger. Okay. I do not know exactly what we might find, but 1988 exhibition by Women in Architecture, Descriptive Data. Okay, so the project was completed in 1984 in Alaska. It's a child care center. A brief statement of project requirements. This project is a 14,000 GSF. I guess I would assume that's gross square feet. Employer-sponsored daycare facility for 150 children, ages 6 weeks to 5 years. The project began with an intensive programming effort involving the architect, a learning environment consultant, and the owner's representative. The client's strong social and religious orientation dictated the creation of a home-like, child-scaled environment dedicated to the physical, psychological, social, educational, and spiritual growth of the child. The design responds to the programmatic requirements based on the developmental stages of the children and to the natural setting. The building, sited along a low south-facing ridge, is divided into 3 distinct areas which reflect the development stage of the children: infants, toddlers, and 3 to 5-year-olds. Let's see, each area faces south and has direct access to the play yards. The infant area includes crib rooms, crawling, diapering, and feeding areas. The toddler and 3 to 5-year-old areas are further subdivided into 3 home base pods, where children eat, hang coats, nap, and participate in quieter activities. I love the hope in stating that the children will participate in quiet activities. These pods step along the ridge, and each connects to the shared activity spaces, which accommodate art, gross motor play, fantasy play, sand and water play, and toilet rooms. The main entry adjacent to the car drop-off is on the north side of the building. The reception, admin, staff, kitchen, mechanical, and service spaces are generally located to the north side and the interior of the building. Let's see, fixtures, cabinets, furniture are scaled to the size of the specific age group. Continuous color banding at the 6 foot to, or I think that's supposed to be 6 foot to 8 foot level, but it says 6 foot to 8 inch level, runs throughout the building, and color-cued ceiling banners define the circulation corridors. Okay. Statement on the role the woman played in this project. The role of the woman in this project was project manager, architect, and designer, responsible for overseeing the entire project from the programming stage through the bidding process. Assisted by the learning environment consultant, she produced the space programs, she produced the space program. I imagine that means something different than like a NASA space program. I assume that means their plan for the space. Assisted by the learning environment consultant, she produced the space program, she developed the concept design and saw it through final design, and she managed an in-house production team and coordinated the work of the consultants for the contract documents. She also managed the production of an extensive interiors package, which included all the furnishings, finished materials, children's toys, and accessories. Children's activities are never quiet. Signed, a former high and middle school teacher. Seconded by an aunt to 9 nibblings. I will just say I used to get in trouble in kindergarten because I couldn't fall asleep at nap time. And I was too restless and noisy during nap time. So having a quiet space in the building conceptually makes sense, but the likelihood that it's ever going to be quiet is low. I don't know if there, oh good, there are some images. They're just toward the end. Type of construction, materials, mechanical systems, other pertinent technical information. Building construction type per, actually I can, since I checked and I know now, I can at least get the floor plan or a blueprint or something that you can glance at while I'm going through this informational, right? That seems like it might be of interest. There's also Xeroxed photographs. Oh joy. But sometimes that's what we have. And having Xeroxed photographs is better than having no documentation at all. Okay. That's actually a pretty decent setup for you being able to see the words if you want to, and have the graphic to look at if you want to. All right. The building construction type per UBC is type V1HR. with sprinklers substituting for the 1 hour? I have no idea what that means. I do not know who the UBC is. Presumably UBC defined the building types, and this one falls under a type as defined by them, V-1HR. Sprinklers substituting for the 1 hour? I don't understand that statement, but I'm not an architect. If I needed to know, I could dig into that for a bit. I'm not going to because we got a late start, and while I'm interested, it's not a huge question in my mind right now. I'm just, yeah, I don't know. The structural system is steel post and glue lam beams. I assume that means like some sort of laminated beams that are put together with glue, but I'm uncertain. And joists with tongue and groove roof decking. Floor is slab on grade. Exterior walls are 2x6 wood studs with R19 insulation, vapor barrier, and beveled cedar siding. Ooh, cedar siding. And trim with clad double glazed wood windows. The roofing is an Irma upside down system. If anybody knows what any of these things are and you feel like sharing, please do, because now we've got what appears to be a brand name. I don't know what an Irma upside down system is for roofing. Don't know the exact meaning of V1HR, but it relates to fire safety ratings and materials. There's special certifications for materials to be used in schools, etc. Yeah, and that makes sense to me. I have read various like FEMA specifications and things like that, because for a very brief time I was studying emergency administration and management, but I didn't really get into like this level of very specific industry standard type stuff. So yeah, it makes sense to me that that's what it would be, but I don't know the specific meaning of it in this context. The HVAC system is forced air supplied through under slab ducts and perimeter floor registers with exposed overhead return air ducts. Interesting that they're doing the HVAC through floor registers, considering that children are always on the floor. It just seems like floor registers open up the possibility that a child would cut themselves on the register grading, and why would you do floor registers instead of like wall registers or ceiling registers? But that's my initial thought on that, because I've cut myself on floor registers before. This system provides a warm floor. There's a good reason for it. An essential criterion in a facility where much of the activity takes place on the floor. See, I asked the question and the next sentence answered it. Cedar and oak accents have been used in the reception area. White and complementary pastel colors have been used through the facility to render a soft backdrop for the various children's activities and toys. Throughout the facility, the fixtures, cabinets, furniture, and windowsills are scaled to the size of the children. It is key-squared. It is quite smart to have the registers run through the floors so that the floors get heated, given the climate of the area. This is a building in Anchorage. I know when I lived in Minnesota, one of the apartments that we were in was above a balcony. Like, our living room in our apartment was above a balcony. So below us, there was no enclosed space. And it really helped to have a heated floor. Okay, where was I? The interior finishes include carpeting, ceramic tile, VAT. I don't know what VAT is in this context. VAT to me just means value-added tax. I have no idea what it is with regard to interior finishing. Sheet vinyl, gypsum wallboard, and vinyl wall covering. The ceilings in much of the facility are open to the bottom of the roof deck with ducts, sprinklers, and conduit exposed. Ah, wow. That's like a very industrial look for... When was... I honestly thought that the industrial look like that was more of a 90s phenomenon. This is late 80s. Or this project was finished in 84. So instead of having ceiling tiles hanging down, they just have the pipes exposed. These exposed building elements and systems are potential teaching tools, depending on the developmental stage of the child. Honestly, that's, again, a well thought out and good reason for not covering them. The only thing that I would do differently, I think, then, is make them different colors so that you can talk about the uses of the different pipes based on the color that they are, if you're going to use them as a teaching tool. Someone who has their bedroom over the front porch with no heated flooring, having heated floors in a cold environment makes complete sense. Yes. Providing an abundance of natural light was of prime importance. A skylight lights the reception area of the north side of the building, and windows, high and low, light the home base pods. The lighting system in the toddler and 3 to 5-year-old modules is fluorescent with direct/indirect light fixtures. In the infant area, the fixtures are indirect since babies spend much of their time on their backs. Please state consideration of energy efficiency, accessibility to the handicapped, and social concern for your project. How did these factors affect the design? All right, the Child Development Center was built to maximize energy efficiency and be accessible to the physically handicapped. A local hospital originally conceived of the Child Care Center as an employee benefit for staff members. The hospital was facing high turnover and employee absenteeism and discovered these problems were frequently related to the employees' inability to find adequate child care. The owner responded to the growing social concern and need for quality daycare facilities for children of working parents. It was designed to offer a home-like, friendly setting which affords the best opportunity for child development. The resultant design provides both the parent and child a comfortable and safe environment which encourages and accommodates the child's development mentally, physically, socially, and emotionally. The building additionally provides a convenient, pleasant, and efficient working environment for staff. The original amount budgeted for the total project was $1,800,000. The final project was $2,004,461. These costs include owner administrative costs, as well as owner-supplied furnishings, finishes, children's accessories and toys, and landscaping. The cost increase was due largely to the 40% increase in the size of the facility, which was required to meet program needs and desires established by the owner with the help of the architect during the programming effort. Ultimately, this resulted in a greater square foot per child ratio. Interesting. Okay, let's see. The American Institute of Architects 1988 exhibition by Women in Architecture identification sheet, drawings, photos, and slides. The only place drawings, photographs, and slides will be fully described. Assign a number to each page and mark the drawing with that number. Okay. Well, we've got that information, so let's take a look at the things. So this is drawing/image 1. And this is the site plan for the Providence Center for Child Development in Anchorage, Alaska. Yeah, site plan, 1984. Okay, the description said hotel or hospital. This says hostel. Hostel. I know of that as like a term for a place for people to stay, like in a sort of hotel type sense. Is that also a term that's used for a hospital? Drop-off parking, entry drive, upper play. Oh yeah, it's got. So this is a cross section. No, it's not. Is it? No, it's this. I'm confused. We'll explore because there's some actual photographs, and so that will help us to understand this drawing better, because right now I'm not following it fully. But I will get it. I'm just not, I don't know perspective at this point. Oh, and we have 16-bit Eric joining with 32 Whimsies. Hello, Whimsies. Welcome in. I hope that the rest of your stream today was great, Eric. I hope that you had many tears shed opening boxes, and that you enjoyed Hellboy, because I saw that you went on to take a look at that game that just released today. Welcome in. It is great to have all of you here. If you're new here, hi. This is Archival Adventures. This is a once-a-week show that I do as the Community Collections Archivist at Virginia Tech. And what I do is I share materials from the Special Collections and University Archives at Virginia Tech. Today happens to be Alaska Day, which is a holiday in the state of Alaska celebrating the anniversary of the transfer of land from Russia to the US within the footprint of the state of Alaska. And seemed like a good excuse to look at some Alaska-related stuff. So we're looking at some materials from the International Archive of Women in Architecture related to projects that happened in Alaska. Right now we're looking at architectural design of a child development center in Anchorage, Alaska by architect Daphne Brown. The information we're looking at was submitted to an American Institute of Architects exhibit project in 1988 that was designed to feature the work of women architects. So, Seward's Icebox. That seems very much like a nickname for Alaska. That would make sense. But yeah, hi, welcome in. I hope that you all enjoy. Feel free to ask questions. Share your knowledge and comment on the archival materials that we're looking at. It is great to have you. And if anybody's here who doesn't already follow 16-bit Eric, might I suggest that you do so. The community, the Whimsies are amazing. Eric is a wonderful storyteller, and his channel is just a wonderful place to hang out. So, the toddler module makes more sense. It doesn't to me yet, but I imagine as we look at things, I will maybe figure it out. So we've got a floor plan here, and we've got a site plan here. I believe they're both top down. The fact that it reads like steps to me, and I remember something saying it was stepped, but these are top down. So my brain needed that moment to adjust. So we've got the entry drive here. We've got drop-off parking. There's gosh, that seems so here is number 3, which is upper play area. It seems really tiny to me. 4 is a deck. 5 is a lower play yard. 6 is somewhere. 6 is here, and it is the infant play area. 7 is the animal corral. I don't know what animals they're corralling, but it's Alaska, so it could be any number of animals that we probably wouldn't think of at a child daycare center. 8 is the fire lane, and then 9 is a service area. So, okay. And there's another like deck and upper play. I'm not certain. We'll discover as we go along. So floor plan here. And I do see in about 9 minutes or so, 9.5 minutes, at least one of the channels is going to have some ads play. So we might take a break when that happens for a couple minutes so that people don't miss stuff. But other than on one of the channels being able to schedule when they happen, I don't have control. They're going to happen one way or the other, so if I can schedule them, then I can avoid people missing out on content because I can take a break when they're playing. I have yet to discover a way on the other channel to schedule them. All right, so we've got the floor plan here. That's probably closer than I need to zoom. Okay, so we've got the entry up here. Administration is next to the entry. Reception. 4 is a multi-purpose room that has a door leading outside. They've got a kitchen, mechanical room that I can't locate because I can't find number 6. There it is. It's behind the toilets. Organic / sand / water play is here, and it's got this little crescent in the design. I wonder if that's fully indoors or if part of that extends outdoors so they can open it up in the summer. It'll be interesting to see what that looks like in the actual photos. Fantasy / gross motor play is this area here, number 8. 9 is arts and crafts play. 10 is the 3 to 5-year-old pod, or it looks like there's 2 of those at least. 11, toddler module. So 3 3 separate spaces for toddlers. Actually, there's 3 for the 3 to 5-year-olds as well. 12 are little storage areas. 13s are coat rooms. 14s are toilets. 15 is diapering. 16, this is the infant play area. Surprisingly, okay, there is a 15 right there. So there's diapering right next to the, yeah. Ooh, I hope that that you have fun at the labs, Key Squared. The toddler modules and the storage areas aren't the same place. Right. So 12s are like little closets. 11 is the toddler module. So 11 is the big room. 12, the storage area, is a closet. Although, I do see that depending on how you look at it, the entire building is a toddler slash infant slash 3 to 5-year-old storage area. It's a child development center, daycare. It's not really a storage area, but the joke was there, and I felt the need to say it. 17 is for infants to sleep. 18 is a laundry area, and 19 is for service vehicles. So interesting. What I find most interesting, so those little play areas that we saw on the site plan, if they go through 13, which are the coat rooms, they've got a little play area for each of the pods. And the infant play area is over here, away from the older children, which I guess makes sense. Just looking at the floor plan, though, I'm not clear on the intended traffic flow getting from the entrance to the different pods. Yeah, I'm not certain. Lord Portico, yes, it says about 3 minutes before that starts. So, toddler module sounds like a class one could take. Honestly, at a school teaching childhood education or childhood development, absolutely, the toddler module is probably a class that you would take. All right, so we've got some photos of the actual project. So this is the northwest view of the main entry. And yeah, these are Xeroxes of photos. This is the best I've got in this collection. But then we've got the main entry. This is the home pods, south elevation. Okay, so these are the little like pod areas, and these little patios are the outdoor play areas. It looks like they're all connected by a sidewalk, but they're like each each little pod has its own little patio. That's neat. Reception, interior. Oh, look at the chunky wooden, these chunky industrial chairs. I want to say they're so 1984, except I know we still have chairs that look like that here in the library today. That doesn't mean they don't look so 1984. That just means we have some old chairs. Interesting. One minute out. What's this one? Come on. I couldn't get the page to turn. I think this is the fantasy play area for 3 to 5-year-olds. Yes. And then the last photo in this collection is home base pod for 3 to 5-year-olds. So like a little classroom area. Cool. Well, the ads are going to start here in just about 15 seconds. So we'll take a quick break. I'll see you in a couple of minutes, and we'll look at the other projects from female architects based in Alaska. And I will see you shortly. Thank you, Detective Zen. Hi again. I forgot that I muted and that it doesn't automatically switch that for me when I switch scenes. Whoopsie doodle. Anyway, welcome back. The ads should hopefully be over. Caden, it is great to see you. I did see you unlurk, but yeah, the ads are just automatically set up to happen, and it said that they were happening, so it was break time. What I was saying was I had tried looking online to see if I could find a photograph of the building that we were just talking about, like a current photo, but that child care center appears to have been redesigned and a new one built as of 2010. And I don't see any photos of the old one that are located online anywhere. So the next one, we've got another project from the same architect, Daphne Brown. This one located in Kodiak, Alaska. The previous one that we looked at was accepted for the exhibit. This one says that it was also accepted for the exhibit. So again, CCC Architects, Alaska design team, Daphne Brown, project manager. I don't know why the camera doesn't like focusing on that text for some reason. But it appears to be basically the same team as before. So let's see what we can learn. I presume there will be some images. So let me see what we got to work with. Ooh. We'll give you some side-on views here. And let me just bump this out just a teeny tiny bit here. Well, to the next zoom level. And let's see what this project's all about. So this one was completed in 1986. I can maybe... Sometimes it breaks the camera if I do this. No. Ha! I found the control finally. Oh. It's slow, but it's working. Completed in 1986, it is another child care center with a preschool. So, the initial project requirements were to design a building which would functionally accommodate 1, 80 to 100 daycare children ages 6 weeks to 10 years, 2, a parent-run preschool with 32 children, and 3, religious education classes held on the weekends, all within 14,000 gross square feet, plus or minus, and it just says plus or minus. It doesn't say plus or minus how much. So the facility space program, developed by the project architect, organized the activity settings by function and by the developmental stage and age of the child. The design responding to the restricted site and to the program is composed of 4 modules organized to separate the preschool from the daycare and to provide views, light, and easy access to the play yards. There are 3 48 square foot modules, 48 foot square modules, 1 each for the preschool, the toddlers, and the 3 to 5-year-olds. The 4th rectangular central module houses the infants and after-school age children in the west half, and the admin/staff mechanical, kitchen, and indoor gross motor play area in the east half. Okay. The square modules each have a large skylight over the central portion of the space. Immediately surrounding this central area are low walls and alcoves for toilets, cot storage, sinks, and cabinetry. 2 quadrants of each module contain home base pods for 16 children. The other 2 quadrants house art and fantasy play. The central areas under the skylight have raised platforms for fantasy or block play. The small areas which divide each quadrant are used for entry, sand play, water play, and organic/plant activity. It's interesting the terminology that they're using. Fantasy play, block play, sand play, water play. Are these typical like child development type terms? It's not a subject area that I've really spent a lot of time exploring, so I don't know. But that's consistent to, but it's the same people. So the fact that they use those terms in one project and are now using them in another isn't super surprising. Throughout, the fixtures, cabinets, furniture, play equipment, and window sills are scaled to the size of the specific age grouping. The corridor system doubles as a greenhouse and display area. A greenhouse? I will be interested to see that in the photographs. If the corridors actually have like greenhouse panels or if they just have plants in them. The toddler and 3 to 5-year-old modules border an outside play deck, which divides the playground into the toddler area and the older children's area. Connecting to the building by covered walk is a large covered play pavilion, also with a central skylight. On the east end of the playground, a berm and wood fence connect 2 adjacent hills, providing a visual and acoustical barrier to the nearby air taxiway, as well as opportunities for climbing, sledding, and sliding. The floor plan had fantasy and gross motor play. Yeah. So I'm just curious, like, what exactly is the definition of fantasy play? Is that a term from child development? I'm just curious because this is architects writing about it, and I assume in consultation with the people who were going to use the buildings, that I'm guessing that term came from the child development people that they were designing for. I'm just curious. Let's see, brief statement on the role the women played. The role of the woman was project architect and designer, responsible for the entire project. From the programming stage through the bidding process, she developed the space program, assisted by a learning environment consultant. She developed the concept and schematic design solutions as well as the final design. She managed a project team consisting of the in-house production and design staff, the structural, mechanical, electrical, civil, cost, and landscape consultants, and oversaw the interior design. Additionally, she managed the production of a complete interior furnishings package, as well as the children's accessories manual for the children's toys, manipulatives, puzzles, etc. So fully designed. Stuff to do with imagination? Probably. Childhood development is not really an area that I spent much time studying. So the building construction type per UBC is V1HR again. Structural system is a combination of exterior bearing walls on continuous spread footings and steel columns and glulam beams again. The sloped roof structure is TUIs with plywood sheathing. The flat roof is TNG decking. The floor is slab on grade. Exterior walls are 2x6 wood studs with R19 insulation, vapor barrier, beveled cedar siding and trim, and clad double glazed wood windows. The sloped roof has R30 insulation and a standard seam metal roofing. The flat roof has R30 insulation with an IRMA type of roofing. HVAC system is forced air supplied and returned through overhead exposed ducts. Providing an abundance of natural light was of prime importance. A skylight illuminates the center of each square module. and clerestory windows light the reception area and after-school room. The lighting system in the toddler and 3 to 5-year-old modules is fluorescent with direct and indirect light fixtures. Infant area, they're indirect because babies spend more time on their backs. And in the preschool classrooms, parabolic reflectors are used. Cedar and oak accents have been used in the reception area. Off-white and complementary pastel colors have been used throughout the facility to render a soft backdrop for the various children's activities and toys. Multicolored ceiling banners, just like in the previous project, a continuous color-coordinated wood banding runs throughout the facility at the 7-foot 0-inch level. This band assists in accenting the scale and in color cueing the modules. The interior finishes include carpeting, ceramic tile, sheet vinyl, gypsum wallboard, accent paint, and carpet wall coverings. Child Care Center was designed to maximize energy efficiency and be accessible to and accommodate the physically handicapped. The base, where the child care facility is located, has been upgrading all of its social and recreational facilities for its residents over the past few years. The facility was conceived to respond to a growing concern and need for quality daycare facilities for children and working parents. It was designed to offer a home-like, friendly setting, which affords the best opportunity for childhood development and which provides a pleasant working environment for the staff. The building had to also accommodate a separately run preschool, as well as religious education classes. The design provides a separate module for the preschool adjacent to the main entrance, so this space could easily be closed off from the remainder of the facility. The preschool area will also be used by the religious education classes on the weekends. The budget was $3,400,000. This budget may appear excessive by lower 48 standards, but this site is semi-remote with high transportation and labor costs. Yeah, it's in Kodiak, so it's not exactly local to places. Like that previous one was in Anchorage. But just as reference, let's Kodiak, Alaska. And this is it zoomed in. So it's on an island near the mainland, but it is on an island in the Aleutian chain here, south of Anchorage. That is a rather, like, it's not like being up in Fairbanks or Nome or North Pole or Prudhoe Bay or like some of these, like Wainwright up here. It's not as bad as those, but it's still going to cost more to ship things here to Kodiak. So budget $3,400,000. Let's see. So the first thing, the first of the images or drawings is a site plan. TNG deck, not TNG decking. Yeah, not the Next Generation. They did have decks on Star Trek, though. Okay, so we've got the site plan from 1985. All right, we have the entry drive and drop-off parking, toddler play area is down here. This is a play deck. So it looks like that's against the hill and in the rear of the building. Makes sense that the play areas are less exposed to, like, might be easier to format than PNG decking. We've got so much wordplay happening. And then there's toddler play deck. 3 to 5-year-old / preschool play is over here. It looks like they're expecting some sort of playground equipment to be installed there. 6. This is the infant play area. Still outdoors, just a much smaller area for those infants. And then 7, this is a covered play pavilion. So if there's weather, they can still get outdoors-ish, I guess. 8 is sand play, so a sandbox. 9, this is for service vehicles. Staff parking. 11 is a health clinic, which is to be demolished. So that's a building on the site that's going away. 12, this is housing. So they're near some housing, it looks like. 13, a landscaped berm. That appears to be just this part of it. But also here. Okay. And then 14, the dotted line that I was just tracing, this is perimeter fencing. So essentially privacy fencing, I assume. So then we had the one that you were all sort of getting a sneak peek at. Oh, no, wait. Even before that was the floor plan. So the inside floor plan, we had the outside physical features of the landscape, and then this is the interior as intended by the architects. The entry is somewhere. The entry is here. It took me a minute to find it on the plan here. Administration is in these 2 offices, it looks like. Reception is this central area. 4. So this room here is the after-school children's playroom. There's a kitchen here. This is the mechanical room. Very important in a design. 7, sand and water play. And it looks like there's 2 spots for it here, 2 spots for it there, and 2 spots for it there. 3 of the age groups get sand and water play. 8, this is fantasy play. So 1 corner of 3 of the little squares. 9 is the arts and crafts areas. Again, 1 corner of 3 of the squares. So 10, this is the 3 to 5-year-old pod. 11 is the toddler pod. 12 is storage. 13, oh, there was more storage there. And there. 13, this is out in the hallway here. They have coat coat cubicles. Yeah, sorry. 14s, if you see any 14s on there, they are the toilets that my eye is struggling to find. There's some there, and some there, and one's there. Looks like 15 are diapering stations. I just see one of those. Nope. There's one here, and there's also one in the toddler area. 16 is infant play area. 17 is for infants to sleep. 18 is laundry, important when you're dealing with children, especially young enough to not necessarily control all of their bodily functions. Everything's in pods. Makes you want to call the kids in each area podlings. The 19 is interesting. We just got there. Organic / greenhouse / animals. And that appears to be here. I'm wondering if this is elevation difference. There's the white rooms, and then there's the darker area, and I'm wondering if the darker part is at a different elevation. But 19 over here is organic / greenhouse / animals. 20 is the central play platform. So in the center of these pods, they've got a central play platform, and the skylight, as described, would be above those. 21, indoor gross motor play. I assume that is the gym. The indoor gym is how I interpret indoor gross motor play. 22 is the preschool pod. 22 is here. So these are older than in the previous project. 23 is staff. 24 is play deck. So that's outside decking. 25 is a waiting area. And 26 is a play platform. I assume there's a 26 on here somewhere. I just don't see that number anywhere. I don't see it. I really don't see it. Hopefully these platforms have a guardrail. I can just see toddlers falling off or jumping off said platforms. Oh, yeah, definitely. I don't see number 26 anywhere. That is... here it is. It's right next to reception. Sort of tucked in there next to the infant area. So then we have the elevation indicators. So this is the building from the west, the building from the south, and then in section A and B. So looking west, so this will be the main entrance area, which would make this the preschool area, this would be the infants, and this would be the toddlers, looking at this side of the building. Now, if we look at it from the south, so here's the outdoor play pavilion, right? And now I'm trying to like interpret. And this is especially interesting for me to try and do, considering that I can't picture things in my head. So I literally need these in front of me to even attempt to do this. Because I don't have the ability to make pictures in my head. But that's this play pavilion is there, meaning this is so this piece of building here is the 3 to 5 year olds. And we should have the exterior deck. So this door here would open up onto the exterior deck. This will be the toddler area. I'm guessing, I don't know for certain, but I'm guessing that this upper floor here is where the organic / greenhouse / animals is located. But I don't know for certain, because that would also imply that the reception is on the upper floor, and that doesn't make sense. I don't know. I will be interested to see the actual pictures. And we've got little cross sections. There's less for me to interpret with the lines on the cross sections here, but we do have photographs though. Again, these photos are Xeroxes because that's what's in the collection. That is what came to us, and so we'll take the best photos we got. So this will be overview looking south. And then this is the main entry and the preschool module. I definitely recognize that kind of roofing. I've seen that before for sure. There's the playground looking west. So you can see the playground equipment, the outdoor play pavilion area. This will be the, what did we say that was, the 3 to 5 year olds module? Just another view there, a little bit closer. Here's that, the back deck for outdoor play. This is the reception area with that tiny little like play area that it took me forever to find on the blueprint. But that's that central like reception area hallway bit. Having these pictures and being able to go from the design on paper to like seeing what it actually physically looks like, this looks like a three-dimensional realization of what the design was, which is what you want. This is definitely one of the module areas. So these little steps here, that is one of those little central play decks with the skylight above it. I don't know which one this is. this is either the toddler module or the 3 to 5-year-old module, and I say that because this feature here with the cabinets and the sink is going to be like we're looking this way. Oh, no, I know exactly which one this is. This is the 3 to 5-year-old module because the curved steps are only here in the 3 to 5-year-old module. And, you know, I would have known that if I had looked at their specification for their submission, because it says this is the 3 to 5-year-old module looking northwest from home base pod. What I find interesting in this design is the toilets. There is no door. And so between this wall and this raised platform, there's a little segment in there where there are toilets. But the design does not have a door. It's just like a little hallway with toilets in it, which I think is unusual. Kind of a deal breaker for you. Yeah, Obi-Wan Fez. It's an interesting design choice. It was not explained in the write-up as to why that choice was made. I assume there's some child developmental reason, possibly having to do with management of the space by the people working there and interaction with the kids while allowing them to use the facilities. I don't know. Quickly, I'm gonna go through the other one because, of course, as always, I'm running out of time. But this other one, let's see. This is a water treatment facility. So instead of childcare, we have water treatment, and this is a different architect. This is Mary C. Cary, and okay, so what do we got here? We've got 1988, located, of course, in Alaska, because that's what we're looking at today, water treatment facility. This water treatment facility was designed to receive water from a glacial lake and to then process, store, and deliver potable water. It serves a population of approximately 200,000 municipal water utility. The structure had to meet certain criteria for construction in a zone of high seismic risk, high winds, extreme cold, and snow. The facility had to provide space for administrative and operations activities, chemical storage, water quality monitoring, and maintenance functions. A computer control room backed by an UPS, uninterrupted power supply unit, offices, conference/training/meeting room, first aid, laboratory, and locker room spaces were necessary. Public support of the utility's mission is desirable. Therefore, public visitations are encouraged within the design. Women fulfilled the roles of architectural project manager, project architect, and project interior designer on this facility. Their involvement began with significant modifications to a conceptual design and resulted in the realization of the final building appearance, both interior and exterior. A number of women also participated in supporting roles on this project, developing detailed drawings and architectural specifications. The architectural project manager, and particularly the project architect, worked closely with civil, structural, mechanical, electrical, and water process engineers in developing the design and construction documents. Women have continued in primary roles during construction of this building, with the project architect being responsible for architectural construction phase services such as question answering, shop drawings review, and site observations. This one was also accepted for the exhibit. And we do have some images. Look, it's in color. And it's actively under construction. But yeah. Okay, so structural system. Foundations are poured in place, concrete supporting a superstructure that includes reinforced concrete panels, reinforced concrete masonry units, and a roof system primarily of precast, pre-stressed concrete double T's. Mechanical systems, hot water baseboard heat loops, and gas-fired ceiling-mounted fans heat the building. Mechanical ventilation was provided in administrative areas, including air conditioning at the computer control room. Water treatment included sophisticated mechanical designs for water processing, laboratory, and chlorine storage functions. To prevent excessive thermal cycling of the structure, the building exterior was sheathed with an insulated metal panel. An inverted membrane roofing assembly, IRMA, with 6 inches of rigid insulation was used on the entire roof. It took us to the third one, but we learned what IRMA stood for. Child development spaces sometimes don't. Toilets are only 1.5 feet tall. Obi-Wan Pez, I did not know this. But also, it seems to make sense that if anywhere was going to have that as a design feature, it would be a child development place, like where you've got toddlers and really young kids. So, let's see. Interior finishes included glazed masonry for many walls, as well as painted concrete masonry units and painted gypsum wallboard. Acoustic wall coverings were included within the administrative area. Ceilings in administrative and laboratory areas were conventional 2x2 lay-in grids with acoustic tile. Structural components typically serve as ceilings above the water processing, storage, and maintenance area. Floor coverings include quarry tile, an inlaid custom carpet in the public reception area, sheet vinyl, and sealed concrete. I'm just going to flip it over so we can glance at a different photo while I read more. The building is located in a cold region, so careful attention was given to creating a well-insulated building envelope with relatively high R values. Glazing features high-performance, low-E glass. This building was perceived as a major industrial-type structure, but also as a significant public building. To encourage public understanding and support of the facility, it was designed to welcome educational tours, and it is fully accessible to the handicapped. Visitors will find a large, welcoming reception lobby accessed from a landscaped plaza. Materials were selected for long life, low maintenance, and attractiveness. Total project cost is $30,200,000, which includes significant site work. And so this is the Eklunta Water Treatment Plant Facility. And the design team, we've got Sandra Jones, Mary Cary, Barbara Cornell, with support from Ellen Greibeck, Joyce Lanier, Patsy DeBrock, Genevieve Holbeck, Jim Rowan, Greg Frostberg, Kay Mel, and Roland Reed. Now, I have no idea where Eklunta is, so I'm going to look it up. It appears to be a native village within the municipality of Anchorage. So it's in the greater Anchorage metropolitan area. It's a little bit northeast of Anchorage. Okay, so let's look at what we have. So we've got, this is facing northeast, an aerial view taken in 1987 of the water treatment facility. And then the other photo, the one that we looked at initially, This says, looking northeast, process and chemical feed. That's what it says. Is that what it looks like to you? Because it looks to me like construction. There's another page here. I'm going to look and see if maybe this is... No, the other page is identical. So this is process and chemical feed, apparently. One does not know. One can just go off of what the documentation says. Let's see what else we have here. Oh, so we've got the site plan. And what's great is we have an actual photograph that we can look at next to the site plan, right? I'm going to zoom out a little bit. But, so we've got the site plan here, the water treatment building, which very clearly, this is the water treatment building. Fuel dispensing station is number 2. I can't see number 2. It's here. It's a tiny little building. And based on where it is here, I don't think it's visible in this photo. 3 is Clearwell underground. So, but this is 3, this square thing, or rectangular thing, is a Clearwell. 4 is an effluent vault. Oh, it's over here. Tiny little building way over here. 5 is a lagoon pump station, which is out here. 6 is a waste wash water tank, which should be this right here. And 7 is an energy recovery station, which is here. So it's pretty cool to have the site plan and an aerial view that I can compare. I like that. It makes interpreting these so much easier. We have a ground floor plan here of the water treatment facility building. Let's see. Vehicle and equipment storage, filter and effluent control area, filter basins, sedimentation basins, flocculation basins, headworks, offices, conference and lunchroom areas, computer room, control room, boiler room, chlorine storage, chemical feed, and process. So based on this area here that's in this photograph is this room. It still, to me, looks like this is under construction. Like it's unfinished. So, there are slides. I forgot to bring the little light box so that we could look at the slides, and we're over time by like 10 minutes already, so I might try, but I'm not going to get my hopes up. So we have sections looking north. These are hard. The side sections like this, where they're unlabeled, are much harder for me to interpret. Also, now the camera wants to act up again and be all blurriness. Stop it, camera. Stop it. Okay, like, seriously, camera? Quit it. Why are you doing this to me? Okay. So we can see there's like equipment and steps and stuff like that drawn in, but this is much harder for me to interpret without labels. Still interesting. I don't know if you've ever been to a water treatment plant, it's much easier to understand these drawings. I have visited a water treatment facility. It's been a long time ago, but I want to say in middle school. So these drawings are, I understand what I'm looking at. This is a perspective of the entrance looking northwest. So this is a design drawing here. Kind of neat looking. All right, I don't know how successful it would be to try and show these at all because I didn't bring a light. But I do have a white board that I could hold them above, and I could try and zoom in and we can see if they will work to see the images. But yeah, I forgot to bring the light box with me. So I can't even tell what we're looking at. But there are 3 slides in here. That first one is supposed to be the basins looking southwest, but it definitely needs more light contrast. I can do a thing that I have done before and try. I don't want to cause anybody any problems. And yeah, that light is too concentrated. The problem is, I do everything in dark mode. So when I need a blank white surface, it doesn't happen. Ha! Me problem solving on the fly. No, no, no. Stop that. What did you just do? It's still not great. It's still a really dark picture, but now it's backlit. Definitely would be better if I had the actual light box behind it, I think, but oh wow. Me attempting to do things. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's clear for you guys at all, but that one is just really hard for me to see. I imagine if I had the time, if I had had the time to scan them, a scanner would make these much easier to see, because they're just so shadowy. If I could lighten them with some digital processing, it would make things much more clear. That's supposed to be looking south through the utilidor, and then this last one is, or sorry, the other was the headworks looking south, and this is the utilidor looking west. But yeah, it's so dark. All I see is like the curvy roof at the top, and shadow. And that's it. That's all I get. So, hi, Meridu. Still, we did have these color photos in this one, which was slightly better than the Xerox photos or the photocopier photos that the other projects had. Also, I just find like this kind of facility, aside from like, wow, it looks really messy from above. I wish like some of those interior shots that are on the slides had been more visible, because the water treatment facility is sort of a cool place. The basins and all the other stuff. But yeah, so that's sadly all I have time for today. 3 projects by American women architects from the 1980s, all with their location being Alaska, in honor of Alaska Day, which is today. So happy Alaska Day, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me. Despite the technical issues that I had with my sound at the beginning, and then when I came back from break, the user error, again regarding my sound, and also, when I first went live, the user error regarding my sound. Yeah. Anyway, thanks for being here. Let me see where we're going to go. Because I need to start packing things up so that I can head home. So let's see who's on. Of course, there is a Stephen Joyce. There's a Fawn and Games. There's a Monterey Bay Aquarium with their aviary cam. All of those would be good. Let's also see who's streaming in the educational category. And just see if there's anything interesting there. Well, I'm taking a peek. There are presently no birds on the aviary cam. So I'm going to take us over to Stephen for a little gator game. Stephen is a wonderful streamer with a lovely community.
I love that.
I thought I had everything muted there, but anyway, Stephen's a wonderful streamer with a lovely community, and always a joy to raid Stephen Joy's. Ask about the tiny hats and say hi, because yeah, just a joy. So we're gonna head over there. Next week, it is the last Wednesday in October, which means it's the next one in our high energy physics series. We'll be looking at papers from former Virginia Tech president T. Marshall Hahn. And I know some of those are related to a university, like a program the university was part of that enabled us to get fissionable material, uranium in particular, on campus here back in, I want to say like the 1970s. So that is the focus of next week's Archival Adventures, is high energy physics, specifically looking at some of the relationship between one of Virginia Tech's former presidents and the physics, and specifically nuclear physics, that happened here on campus. So I hope I will see some of you for that. Hopefully I will see all of you soon. I love it when you're able to stop by for Archival Adventures. And thank you all so much for being here. yeah, hopefully I see you soon. Until I do, keep exploring history, everybody.